Hello Cancer, this is your March 2016 horoscope with me, Lada from Astrolada.com, for anyone who is Cancer, Sun, Moon or Ascendant. And I just have a short announcement first. On the 17th of February, I'm launching the upgraded Astrolada.com website. It's going to be totally new. We'll have all the modules from the previous website, but it will be much more sleek, easy to navigate, colorful, way more modern. So go and check it out. And I'll be adding newer and newer interesting astrology and tarot and occult science and spiritual knowledge articles, videos, free readings, and I'm working very hard on all those things. And also a friend of mine translated Astrolada into Spanish, and she's made the Spanish version of it. You can check the link for the Spanish version if you find it easier to read in Spanish. I'm not running that website, I'm just giving some of the articles, materials, and the name for it. But if you're interested, you can check it there. I'll recommend it to friends of yours who are into astrology. Anyway, what does March hold for you Cancers? Oh, it's eclipse season, and the eclipses don't directly affect Cancer, but they will trigger houses in your horoscope. And the first eclipse on the 8th of March happens to be in your 9th house. So March, and even in February, some of you Cancers can feel it, because the eclipse is felt a month or two before the eclipse itself, the solar eclipse in particular, and then after that it's active for 6 months. So it's almost like the whole year you can have reverberations and see results and in regards to that topic I'm talking about, which is the solar eclipse in your 9th house, and I explain what it is, but don't focus it just in March. Don't expect all of this to happen just in March. Project it further into the future as well, and even backwards. So what is happening? Solar eclipse is about new beginnings, powerful new beginnings. Because solar eclipse is basically a new moon. When the sun and moon merge together, they look in the sky as if they're joined into one. So mother and father, God and goddess come together. And what do? They create new life. And they create this new life for you Cancers in regards to 9th house matters. So new beginnings for some of you might indicate new interest, high interest, because 9th house rules our spiritual interest or our higher knowledge. So some of you might find themselves that this year they get more and more. Someone may be into law, another one into culture, another one into art, history, such matters that of higher education, of higher culture. Maybe science or literature or spirituality or learning astrology, for example, such esoteric spiritual matters. You can find yourself much more excited about learning such things. You can make space because new moon solar eclipses is about letting go of something. So letting go of old belief systems. Letting go, you might realize that it's already probably even starting to happen, that something is shifting in your consciousness, in your belief systems, how you perceive the world, how some people are either always very positive, very negative, or always look at the dark side of things, or very critical overall, or they think like life is hard or whatever. Everyone has an underlying belief system that is strongly entrenched in them, in their conscious and subconscious as well. And when there is a solar eclipse in their 9th house, and it's actually, there'll be more solar eclipses in your 9th house, so it's not a one-off process. It can continue for a year and a bit longer even. Is that they start getting awakened to higher truths, to a different points of view. So there might be like a new person that comes into your life, or a number of people who present to you a different point of view, who help you see the forest rather than just the trees, who gives you a higher bird's view, how the puzzles fit together. Maybe some kind of an advisor, some kind of a teacher, some kind of a master, some kind of an inspirational figure, or inspirational science or whatever that you start reading or getting excited about, which transforms your point of view. I remember when I had an eclipse in my 9th house, I think I read for the first time then the Law of Attraction books, and that changed massively my perception on reality. And this is when I start reading that within 1 year, and a half, my life started shifting in a huge way, because I started focusing on the positive rather than the negative, on the opportunities, on rather than always criticize everything I've done wrong, starting to see that basically I had to do those things wrong because they were part of the process that took me where I had to be on my dharmic path, on my path of soul fulfillment. So this is, it can be a dramatic and intense and beautiful awakening of consciousness that happens. And it doesn't mean that you become Buddha or Jesus Christ. Of course, no. You need many incarnations for that. But there will be like a shift of your thinking and perception of reality gradually happening, teachers appearing, new vistas and horizons expanding. But this, first, in order to get there, you might go through some crisis of faith. Because you are losing, because a solar eclipse, and especially the solar eclipses with the south node of letting go, so you can welcome something new. So possibly, it might have even been happening for the past few months, or it might still come, or it might be still that it comes. Some of you are more sensitive earlier, some of you takes them longer, but there might be some crisis in faith, maybe something that you always believed in is going to be certain well, that the spiritual or life the rules of life are this and this way, and then these start playing tricks on you. It's not exactly like you've always thought it is. And you start losing faith, and you start becoming pessimistic and becoming darker in a sense. And that always precedes a shift in consciousness. This kind of more negativity, feeling confused, losing direction, because the ninth house rules seeing the bigger path and the bigger, as I said, seeing the bigger path rather than focusing on the details, seeing your long-term path ahead and having faith and meaning in it. And the eclipse can cause some crisis there. Maybe you've been feeling for a few months, maybe losing certain perspectives and beliefs that you've had, and sometimes even spiritual, sometimes overall how you think life should be. But in the long run, this will make space, like becoming like an empty slate and becoming more open to listen to higher knowledge, a different sense of perception of reality. And you'll get the opportunities over the next few months. Maybe it will start in March, but again, as I said, through finding some new inspirational science, new inspirational esoteric, or new inspirational subject matter to study, or new inspirational people, teachers, mentors, gurus, advisors in your life, or life coaches. They don't have to be professional. It might be just a friend or someone at your workplace who acts as such kind of mentor figure and who helps shift consciousness within you and your belief systems. I've seen many clients that all of a sudden start studying Buddhism, or start studying some different religion, or start exploring esoteric Christianity, all those high-minded, looking for the deep questions in life. So in March, possibly for a while already, you've been thinking more and more about that. And over the next few months, something like that will appear into your life when you let go of the old belief systems. Ninth house on the mundane level, everyday life, it's travel. So there might be some new beginning in regards to traveling for some of you. If something has been blocked, it might be kind of dissolved now, and you might have an opportunity maybe to get a visa, to go travel in a different country, or to go live in a different country, to interact with new, very different people from you. They might be foreigners, or they might be people that come from a different hierarchical structure, very different ethnical background, cultural, spiritual background. They don't have to be exactly foreigners, but people that are on a very different mental level from you, that see things from a very different perspective. And they can become like teachers again to you, or it can bring opportunities over the next few months to work with foreigners, or to work with people that stand far away from you, metaphorically or physically. This is also pre-qualifications. And some of you, with the shift in consciousness, they can start realizing that they actually, their focus, how they say, their meaning in life is changing. When your meaning in life is changing, so would also what you want to do in life. Because ninth house rules pre-qualifying, changing your knowledge set skills. And when you change your mentality, what happens? You also want to possibly work something else, you want to possibly go to a different level of education, different level of worldly duties later on. So it can open new opportunities for maybe some of you might get the desire to get a PhD, some of you might get the desire to go study something, some of you might get the desire over the next few months. It can be indication, this eclipse in your ninth house, that you might be traveling the world or something like that, Cancers, that you might be going to foreign places. But even within the month of March, there is a huge activation of this ninth house. Venus will be there, Mercury will be there, the Sun will be there, Moon joins for a little bit. So even in March, Cancers, some of you might be going to foreign countries, exploring different cultures, expanding their vision. Even if you don't have the opportunity to travel physically, but if you've been trying to get a visa or something like that, it can happen now. If you've been trying to travel somewhere, whether for work or personal pleasure, it can happen now. But even if you can't physically travel, you do like a traveling in your mind. You'd be kind of opening your mind to new ideas, to new experiences, to new adventures. You become more adventurous. And even romantic experiences and fun experiences, Venus is in your ninth house, can happen through experimenting, trying something new, some new adventure, even traveling of sorts, or with people that are very different than you culturally, spiritually, location-wise. Okay, can be a good time to, if you're trying to apply to university, to work hard on it. This eclipse and those planets, they can open doors there as well. Okay, so that's one of the eclipses. Where is the other eclipse? It's happening, Cancer, in Libra, which is your fourth house, and that's a solar eclipse. And lunar eclipse. And lunar eclipses are different than solar ones. This is when the moon is full. And then for a few hours, it looks like it gets bloody, like dark, because the shadow of the sun falls on it. So it's like a full moon on steroids, super powerful full moon, because it's exactly opposite the sun. That's why the sun casts its shadow. Basically, the earth casts its shadow on the moon. The sun can't. Anyway, so what does it mean? When there is a full moon, there is like a completion of things. Maybe something you've been doing, and it's happening in your fourth house, which is property, place of living, family, family members. So there can be some completion. Some of you, for example, if they've been looking to sell a house or buy a house, or they've been looking to complete something in their house, or to relocate or something like that, now they can be the opportunity for that. Now they can see the results of their efforts that they've been putting for a while. And there might be like a sale of a house, or change of location, or relocation, or changing a number of people that you live with, family members or something like that. You know, so such kind of shifts are happening, such kind of, but it's manifesting outwardly more in a sense. Or you might, lunar, if it's not on the material level, it manifests with such changes. How it can manifest in another way is that lunar eclipses is very emotional time. And that's when you become aware of your emotional needs. And if, for example, family members or people you've lived with, or people in your private life have not been taking good care of you, or you've been neglecting them in some way, or the relationship has been, something's been brewing and escalating there, whether with parents or with your family that you've created, something there will make a shift. You will become aware of what your needs are. And you will become aware of your needs to nurture your soul, because the fourth house naturally rules feelings as well, and the full moon is there. So you become extra emotional towards the end of March. Maybe you'll feel it the whole of March as well. But because your fourth house is triggered Cancer, this is the house of feelings. This is the house of emotional reactions, so you can become more emotionally reactive, much more intuitive, much more sensitive, and you can get intuitive realizations about your needs, what it is how to nurture, how to make yourself happy. The fourth house is called the house of happiness. When one is emotionally balanced and fulfills their emotional needs, they are happy. This is happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with cars, with sexual partners, with money. Believe me, you can have all of those things and feel so unhappy. You can feel so emotionally unbalanced. And fourth house, with this solar lunar eclipse there, you become so aware and conscious. Something gets illuminated in your mind of what it is you actually need. And maybe this process has been working already for a while, because there were other eclipses a year ago in your 4th house again, and solar eclipse as well 6 months ago. So it's been in a process, and now it can come to the surface, because it's the last eclipse that's happening in Aries, as far as I can remember. Sorry, in Libra, in your 4th house, for many years, as far as I can remember. So it's kind of like a culmination of this process of you've been trying to find what makes you happy, what can bring you more emotional happiness. You can find realizations now, like a eureka moments. Okay, if I do this, I will find happiness. I'll feel much more emotionally balanced. You can find new ways to balance yourself emotionally, but usually because it's a eclipse, how it gets triggered by first culminating some emotional crisis within you. Because in order to shift the layers, in order to have realizations, in order to change something within you, emotionally, psychologically, there is usually a need for more push, for more psychological push on the, and what happens is that you can become extra sensitive, extra emotional. You can take important decisions about what will make you happy in your personal life, what you need, and act on them, or even where you want to live, and manifest those things. And full moon eclipses are about expression, outward expression. Just like when the moon is full, you see it shining brightly, Even when it's in eclipse, the feelings get so intense that you would go and express emotionally, especially because you're Cancers. You're so sensitive to lunar eclipses. You're so sensitive to eclipses overall, because the moon rules Cancer. The moon is you, and when the moon gets eclipsed, like huge, twice a year, every year, you get like, every year it's a different periods, but you get more emotional, more psychic, more sensitive. You become more conscious of what are your needs, and you go and express them. And if you've been bottling up, not trying to stir the water, not trying to upset, the situation, now it's kind of the full moon will push you to go and share what your emotional needs are and to do something about it. What is needed for you, There might be some changes also in the life of your parents, because 4th house rules mother, or parental figures, or in the way how you parent as parents. It's your own parental nurturing abilities and skills. Okay, so that's the 2 eclipses. Now let's see what else is happening. What houses are being triggered for you Cancers? Well, all the 6 planets, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter, are in the so-called mutable houses, are triggering your mutable houses in your horoscope. This is like, the mutable houses, the 6th, the 9th. We talked about the 9th, where the eclipse is happening, where the Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury will be. The 6th house as well, the 3rd house. So these are the houses of the mind. These are the houses of the shift in. These are the houses of reassessment. So March for you is not so much a month for action, because the mutable houses, they correspond to the mutable seasons, to the mutable months. Sorry, the months that precede the change of seasons. Basically like March, like Sagittarius, December, before the coming of the winter, it corresponds to the last month of a season. And just like the last month of a season, everything starts shifting, the energies gets unstable, reassessments start happening in a psychological level. You'll notice that in March, it's not so much time for action, but time for psychological adaptation. You need to be open-minded, and you will be more open-minded. You'll become more impressionable from outer impressions. These mutable houses will trigger of those planets that are in your mutable houses will make you more impressionable to outer stimulus, because it's also time again to shift your point of view. So it's not time to go, to stick to things, old things. It's time to open up yourself for new things, but not initiate yet. Now you are gathering information in March. You're gathering information, you're preparing. It's a preparatory stage. Your consciousness is shifting. Your point of view is shifting, as we talked about that. And then when April comes, it will be more a month of action for you, of taking steps fully, manifesting materially. Well, this mutable energy now is triggering your third house, so shift in thinking, in ideas. Jupiter is there in your third house, making opposition with planets in your ninth house. There will be provocations to make you change your thinking, to expand your thinking. There will be provocations to even get new skill sets. This expansion of the mind that's happening and shift of point of view will even trigger you maybe to change your skill set, Jupiter in the third house, to try and learn new things, to plan about learning new things, to plan about traveling, expanding the mind. Then also planet in your sixth house is triggered. Saturn and Mars are in your sixth house. Yes, Saturn and Mars are in your sixth house there, which is again a mutable house. So there is like, again, taking stock and preparing for something and experimenting rather than setting things in stone, you know. This is the thought, this is the period in March, the thought before the action, and the analysis and reassessment of your resources that you already have, and what you need to keep and what you need to let go of. You know, so kind of reassessment, thinking about those things, seeing different point of view, expanding your mind, being open and vulnerable, to being flexible. Because when the mutable houses are triggered, there is the wind of change coming. But it's not yet, you're not on the path of the change yet. It's first happening from here and here, emotionally and psychologically and mentally. So that's what you're doing. And Mars goes into your sixth house, Cancers. It will be there till June. But I'll talk more in depth about that in the March videos. I'll talk because Mars will get retrograde into your sixth house. So there will be like a huge shifts that you'll be doing, breakthroughs in regards to your career and health life, and in regards to your daily routines and duties and responsibilities, but that will come in the April videos. So thank you very much, Cancers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel, write to me, share your experiences. Let's see how the eclipses will affect you. Thank you.